Hi, I'm a Manson Network. How are we doing today? How was our week? Did we have any anger issues in the course of the week? And let me just one moment, I'll just share the video and I so I'm not seeing the notification. Maybe it takes some time. Okay. Yeah. So did we have any anger issues in the course of the week? And how were we able? Yes, now it's here. Yeah. Yeah, what I mean is, did we have any anger issues in the course of the week? Were we able to manage it constructively, or did we escalate into a showdown mode? And this is what I'll be talking about today. Handling your anger constructively is actually one way to be happy and successful in life. And you remember when we were in school, we actually hailed and admired people with high IQ. Then we didn't know about anything called EQ or EI. But I believe that both kinds of intelligence can actually influence your job performance, your relationship, and your overall well being. That is why I find it necessary to speak about this on this platform. It is important that we are actually conscious about things like this, so we will be able to manage it. And so very often we tend to focus on IQ. We all know what IQ is, more than emotional quotient. However, I believe that developing both kinds of intelligence may be the key success in many areas of our life. And again, if you read about emotional intelligence, you realize that it is a success indicator in the workplace. And so this topic is very, very important to me. In this context, we are trying to learn how to manage anger, which is an emotion. And let me start by, if you join me, kindly write something so I'll be able to interact with you. Let me begin the discussion by sharing a story with you. And I actually read it somewhere. It is called the parable, or it is titled The Parable About Our Emotional Lives. I am actually speaking about anger today. I'm talking about anger. And so it goes like this. There was a man riding a horse, and so they were going in the streets and they came across another man in the street. So the man in the street asked the horse rider, "Where are you going?" To his surprise, the horse rider answered and said, Why are you asking me? Because I don't know where I'm going. You should be asking the horse. Hmm? This is actually a parable about our emotional lives. And so you see, very often, this is how some of us are related to our emotions. In this context, anger. Anger. Now, the man on the horse signifies you and I, and the horse signifies our emotions, or in this context, again, anger. We allow anger to drag us into places that we have no idea, or places that we actually will not want to go. When you experience anger and other emotional problems, you fail to have control, and you are actually dragged into showdown moods. But do you know that you can actually be on the horse and still be in control? And this means that you can actually determine where the horse should go. The horse should not be determined where you should go, because you are sitting on the horse and you are in control. So very often, I don't know why we allow the horse to decide where we should go. It is important that we are in control when we are sitting on the horse. In this life, we cannot avoid being angry because there are people around us, people in our workplaces, people in our neighborhood, relatives, family, and friends who are likely to make us annoyed. And so it is something that we cannot avoid. And so I've been saying that um, people are actually allowed to give you stimulus. They are allowed to make you angry, but how you react or how you respond should not be determined by them. You should be able to determine, to choose your actions responsibly. You see, normally anger inspires an aggressive and powerful behavior, and it allows us to fight and defend ourselves when we are attacked. You know, um, it makes you to feel that you are at the mercy of an unpredictable and powerful emotions. Anger is real. Anger is very real. We should never pretend that anger does not exist. And who am I to speak about this topic? I get angry all the time. 3 days ago, about 3 days ago, somebody annoyed me. Who am I to speak about this topic? But also, you see, for me, when I speak about some of these topics, then I become very conscious. You know, I have that self-awareness because everybody get angry. I get annoyed, you get angry, everybody, and then it's an emotions just like any other emotion. We all know how it feels like to be annoyed or to be angry. We must not pretend that anger does not exist. It does. But also, in as much as anger is a negative emotion, one thing is that it can also be used positively. And it is what we call anger in the right direction, righteous anger. When you see someone being molested in the streets, it is anger that will cause you to go defend this person, because this person is weak, the person is not strong like you. And so anger will initiate that you go take action. Anger, it is anger that does not make us to watch unjust situation. So anger has a role to play in our life. It can protect and direct us in the right direction. It is also anger that actually motivates you to find solution to problems. And let me say that it was anger that motivated me to rediscover myself. Through anger, we can save lives and protect people who are not as strong as we are. Anger is not wholly bad. Anger also allows us the opportunity to express negative feelings. And so I will boldly say that we actually need certain amount of anger in us to survive life. And very soon I will be talking about what makes anger bad. Anger becomes bad when you are like that person who abuse it and then who abuse it. Normally, this person escalates into a showdown mode. Anger is also bad when it gets out of control. When it gets out of control, it becomes destructive, and then it can lead to a whole lot of problems that can affect our professional and personal lives, even our overall quality of life. And so when you are angry, you experience an emotional state. And this emotional state actually varies. Its intensity varies from mild to intense fury and rage. And then you see that it arouses feelings that are associated with hostility or hostile thoughts and behavior. Hey, every one of us knows how it feels to be angry. We have all experienced this, if not often, once a while. And so, a psychologist who majored in anger, he studied about anger, said that anger is actually accompanied by psychological and biological changes. This is what anger can actually do to us. Let me see if somebody is. If you are watching me, you can write something about your experiences with anger. When you get angry, what do you do? What are your triggers? How are you able to manage it? You can write your comments so we can all learn and move on. It's very important. Want to check. Me, you can write something about. Yeah. So, like I said, if you join me, kindly write your experiences with anger. What are your triggers? What do you do if you get angry? How are you able to manage it? You see. So, anger can actually cause us health problems like high BP, and you also find your heart racing if you get angry. Excessive anger can cause health problems and other physical changes associated with it. Have you realized that anytime you are angry, you are unable to actually think straight. You cease to think. And so that is why sometimes we actually misbehave when we are angry. Your thinking stop at that point, you know. And so excessive anger, again, is very harmful to our physical and mental health. It can cause us problems at work. Let me tell you something. Was it 3 days ago or so? One of our members, we have a network, disability network. So one of them called me and said, Auntie Vero, I want to resign from my workplace. So the first thing I asked this person was, have you found? I asked him, why do you want to resign? He said, my boss is getting on my nerves. And no, the wife of my boss is getting on my nerves. And she even said that they are just giving me time and they are likely to lay me off. And so I want to resign first. So I asked him, have you found another job? What will you do if you leave that job? What are your plans? He said, I have no plans. I don't have any other jobs. So I said, what is happening to you now has actually happened to me before. And the way I was reacting then, I wouldn't do it now, because now I learn about emotional intelligence. I have also learned about anger management. And so my best advice to you right now is to cope, try to cope, because you don't have a job. And so how will you survive if you leave your job right now? You have to cope. Once they are not terminating your appointment, you have to cope and start planning towards resignation. You can be looking for another job. If you find a job, fine. And honestly speaking, this has ever happened to me in the past. And sometimes I'll just leave I was actually working as a paralegal. And because it's something I did for a long time, I became very conversant with a job. And I think my boss had confidence in me. So if anything happens and I choose to stay at home, he will call me and plead with me. Then I go back. So right now, sometimes I think about it and I said, but how could I behave that way? If my boss never called me, that means I was going to lose my job. And in fact, I will not be behaving that way right now. So based on this experience, I actually advised this guy. This morning, I spoke to him. I asked him, how is the situation like? What he tells me is difficult. I said, you have to cope because you don't have a job. And so we have no option than for you to cope. And so managing our anger is very, very important in the workplace also. I find this topic very, very important. You know, there's this guy that I work with, and he was telling me about how anger caused him a lot of problems in the past. He lost his marriage. He used to insult the wife. He used to have pepper mouth. He used to insult his wife. Eventually, the marriage collapsed. And he had to learn how to manage his anger the hard way. This guy was telling me. He even lost business deals because of his anger. So anger can destroy us. It can destroy our professional life. It can destroy our personal life. It can even destroy our relationship with others. It is very, very important to be able to manage our anger constructively. But like I said, it is not as easy as I am saying right now. That is why I said earlier that who am I to be talking about anger? Just 3 days ago, somebody annoyed me seriously. I made this advert on Facebook about facial glow cream. And this person was the first person to call and order. And I was so stupid not to have asked him to send the money to me first because of the personal relationship I have with this person. So this person was like, just go buy the items and ship them to me in England. I'll send the money to you the following day. It was the last money I had on me. Trusting this guy, the following day, it was on a Monday. I went to buy the things. I posted them and I told him. The following day, I did not hear anything from him. 3 days after, I wrote to him. I said, I've not heard from you. How far now? He said, oh, I'm going to send it immediately. And so I told him that, okay, I'm going to town, so I'll be waiting to pick it up before I come back home. I stood there forever, Evish. This is how a German would say it, Evish, forever. I stood in town. I called him, I sent text messages. He would not respond to any of my messages. I was furious, very, very annoyed. And you see, so for me, one of the ways, and I also did not want to destroy the relationship I have with this guy. So I have to call some other friends and complain to them, talk about the problem to them. And it's one of the ways that I manage my anger. I waited forever, you see. So now let's look at some causes of anger. Yeah, that is why I asked you at the beginning of the discussion what some of your triggers are. You can write them here. We all have different triggers, different things that make us annoyed. The story I narrated to you now was something that made me annoyed, but probably you could have been able to cope with it. But also, I got annoyed because it was the last money I had, and the agreement was that I post the things and then he sent the money immediately. I fulfilled my part of the agreement and he refused. Isn't it annoying? I was very, very annoyed, but also I think that I was able to manage it, to manage the situation. He eventually sent the money. I think he sent it yesterday. It was over a week. He sent the money. And I did not even appreciate it again because I needed the money badly. He never sent it. So anger can be caused by both internal and external factors. It could be about our childhood experiences. I used to have anger issues, even still, I used to have anger issues, and it was as a result of my childhood experiences. Sometimes it could be because of the schools that we attended, or children that we spent time with. It could also be about traumatic situations, you know, that we went through. And these are internal causes of anger. You cannot you can also write down some of your anger triggers. Yeah, write it down so that we learn from one another. Or it could be that a specific person, such as a co-worker or supervisor, makes you angry. Yeah, events like traffic jam, or flight cancellation, some of these things can also make us angry. And you see the reason why I said anger is something that we cannot do away with. There are things in our environment that cause us to be angry all the time, and so we only have to learn how to manage it. We can never do away with it. you know Being worried about your personal problems or traumatic memories, they are all things that can also, some of these things still happen to me. I have to be honest with you. I told you that it's only when I discuss some of these things that I become um, aware, you know, and then I make that conscious effort um, to manage the situation, you know. And so all these things are things, I'm not exhausting the list. There are other factors that I know that some of us or most of us may be aware of some of these things that I'm talking about. And so I'm not trying to school you of a kind. It's just a gentle reminder that we must be conscious of it. Very often we tend to ignore some of these situations and they destroy us. They destroy our relationships. They destroy, professional and personal, life. And so it is important that we are quite aware of some of these things. That is why I want you to write your triggers, your experiences here so that we can all learn, you know. So when you are angry, what do you do? I have just told you one of the things that I do. I speak to, for me, I speak to friends about, I complain to friends. I'll call some few friends that I trust, and then I will talk about the problem. What is making me angry? I try to discuss it with some of these people. You know, what do you do when you are angry? Can you share with us? One of the ways that you can actually manage your anger is, I think the first thing you must do is you have to start with self-awareness. You have to identify some of the things that trigger you, some of the things that make you angry. What for me, I know some of the things that make me angry. When I'm talking to people and they are beginning to annoy me, I know when it is coming. I am very much aware of the things that make me angry. So you may have to identify um, some of these things, the things that actually make you angry. So you have to start with awareness, self-awareness, you know? Yeah. And then another thing you can also do is that when people make you annoyed, talk to them about it. Let them know. Speak clearly about your needs and then how they can be met. So talk to people, express your anger in an assertive, not aggressive way. Mm? You should not react, you should respond. And then make clear what your needs are. Register your displeasure headily by making them met without, making people hurt. Even though they are hurting you, sometimes um, it may not be intentional, you know. And some people, in an attempt to manage anger, also suppress it. This one is dangerous. That is why we think that some people don't get annoyed. They are only trying to suppress it. I said from the beginning that everybody gets annoyed. When you see people who are trying to suppress their anger, you think that they are people, they don't actually get annoyed. Suppressing your anger actually happens when you hold in your anger, you know, and then eventually you first hold in your anger, try to convert your anger into a more constructive behavior, but it's no good. It has its dangers. Mm-hmm. If you read about or you study emotional intelligence, it is not asking you not to get angry. Emotional intelligence is actually telling you to choose your actions, to react responsibly. That is all. And so we are not saying that you should not get angry. But then, if you are angry, try to catch yourself before you escalate into a showdown mode. But don't suppress your anger. It has its dangers. If you suppress your anger, it can be turned, into an inward something. And that is what causes people to have depression and hypertension. It is not good to suppress your anger. It can also turn into what we call pathological expression of anger. So you see that you will in the next future be somebody who transfer aggression onto people, people who have not offended you, but you get annoyed at the slightest provocation. Don't suppress your anger. It's good to talk about it. Find other ways of managing your anger. Then let me also tell you another story I read from somewhere. There is this guy who had anger issues. He destroyed all his relationships, and he was always in a showdown mood. So one day he lost his job, everything. One day he decided to go consult a high priest or something to help him overcome his anger. And so he went, and this man gave him a bottle of water. He told the man that he has actually prayed on it. There is something inside it that will help him calm his anger anytime he was angry. He went home. The instruction was that anytime he was getting angry or anytime he was angry, he should just put the water into his mouth and keep it for some few minutes, 10 minutes. He went home, he tried it several times. It worked. The water got finished. And then he came back to the priest. He said, yeah, I used the water you gave me and it worked, but it's now finished. So I need some more. Then the priest said, honestly speaking, there was nothing in that water. It was just an ordinary water. And it was a process that I wanted you to go through to be able to manage or to control your anger. By putting this water into your mouth means that when you are angry, you should not open your mouth. You should just keep quiet for 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, you will come back significantly better. The annoyance may still be there, but it will not be raging like how it started. So he told the man, go back and practice same. Either you put water into your mouth when you are angry, or you can actually keep quiet. You could keep shush for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you'll be better. You respond. You will not react. So the man went back. And so sometimes, that is, I'm saying that these things are not as easy as I am saying here. That is why I told you that even me, I'm still struggling with some of these things. Yeah, but it works. It actually works. And so sometimes you could actually walk away from the sin when you are the environment that is making you angry. You can just walk away from the place for some time and you realize that when you come back, you will be okay. Another thing you could also do is avoid. At the beginning of the discussion, I have said that you have to identify, you have to be self-aware, identify some of the things that actually make you angry. And so if you see them coming, don't engage with things that make you angry. Avoid situations that make you angry. Yeah. It is better you prevent it. You prevent it. Don't allow it to happen at all. Don't let it happen to you at all. There is another technique that I also heard people talk about. You could breathe in deeply from your diaphragm when you are angry. Yeah, it also works. Or you can repeat certain words. I do this one also. You could repeat certain words. Maybe, Veronica, calm down. When that guy made me annoyed, these were some of the things I was saying to myself. Veronica, calm down. Even if you get annoyed, it's not going to fix the problem. Take it easy. You know, sometimes say some of these positive words to yourself. Normally, when people are angry, we tend to curse and swear and we say all sort of negative stuff. We are only trying to exaggerate. We say things to exaggerate our thoughts, to reflect our thoughts, what we are going through. And so you could do the opposite by saying some of the things I have said earlier on. Calm down, you're gonna be all right, everything will be okay. Veronica, take it easy and you will be fine. Please, can you write some of the techniques that you use when you are actually angry, so we can all learn from it? Yeah, another thing you can also do when you are angry is to try and be objective when people say things that are likely to annoy you. Try to be objective. Rethink. Think about what a person has said to you and be objective. Is the person being honest, or the person is just trying to pick on you? You have to consider all these things before you get angry. Sometimes people they are not just trying to pick on us, they are only trying to be honest or constructive or whatever. I can't find the right word. You see, so think about all these things, before. And normally, don't say the first thing that comes into your mind. If you are beginning to get angry, don't say the first thing that comes into your mind. Rethink about it, reconsider it, and pause a moment before you speak. And listen to what the underlying words of this person is. The person, trying to make you angry. And like I said, you have to be very, very objective. Yeah. I'm still waiting for your comments. How do you manage your own? This is not a new topic to us at all. We know about some of these things. The problem is, do we practice them? Do we practice them? If you have other things that you do, please share with us so we can all learn. We can learn new tricks, you know. I am not exhausting the list on these techniques. There are a lot of stuff that you can do. If you are somebody that, if you have anger issues, if it's serious, very serious, try to read about it. You can also speak to a therapist. You can talk to, yeah, a therapist. Then if you have anger issues, probably you and your partner, both of you have anger issues, then you should speak to a therapist. Please, if you watch this video, I would like you, if you watch the video later, I'd like you to leave your comments on your experience with some of these things that I am talking about, so that we can all learn. Yeah. Have you ever had any serious anger issue that led you into a showdown mode? Think about it. I'll be leaving very soon. I have spoken enough about it. If you want more, you can read about it. There are other different techniques, and what works for me may not work for you. And so try to explore the various techniques, but it's very important for you to actually manage your anger. My name is Veronica. I am a member of Amma Manson's Confident Communicators Club. I am also the founder of the Challenge Foundation. We are here on Facebook. Please follow us. And if you come to watch this video, kindly share it so that other people will also have to see it and learn from it. Thank you for watching. I love you.